I'm going to continue to say the messaging now in this campaign with Kamala Harris versus Trump is so great from the Democrats. And in this case, I have Democratic Congressman Jason Crow, and then I'll show you Governor Tim Walz. Just brutal if you're Trump. And wonderful if you're a part of the pro-democracy movement. Because what we're realizing, and I explained on a recent bonus show that I didn't predict this. And so I'm sorry that I didn't. I wish that I had. But what we're seeing is a level of energy now. Newfound motivation that is stunning. And that also comes with a clearer, simpler, maybe more compelling case because of age now being something that hurts Trump in the conversation. Now he's being mocked for being too sleepy and too old and getting confused at rallies. And that comes up against a sharper attack, Kamala Harris, and a younger Kamala Harris. And then you go down the road of convicted felon versus former prosecutor. And concise messenger versus disaster rambling messenger. And here you can tell the Fox News host did not like what Jason Crow was having to say, and her face sort of shows it while he's talking, but hilarious stuff here. Then we'll move on to other clips.
The last debate, Martha, happened when both candidates were not their confirmed nominee either. So what has changed is my question. I think the obvious answer is Donald Trump is afraid. He's afraid of this change. He's acting like it. Listen, I'm a combat veteran. I know fear and fatigue when I see it. And he's acting tired and he's acting afraid here. You know, someone needs to wake him up. And I know he has a hard time staying awake. You know, he fell asleep repeatedly at his own nominating convention. He fell asleep repeatedly at his own criminal trial.
Look at the faces she's making. Just not having it. They loved it so much. Making fun of President Joe Biden in any situation where his age was showing, and it would show. Never doubted that. But they loved mocking it. What is it? 10 ways till Sunday? I don't know, whatever the phrase is. A bunch of times until Sunday. But then now, it's getting flipped back around, and it is not going well for Martha.
Staying awake. You know, he fell asleep repeatedly at his own nominating convention. He fell asleep repeatedly at his own criminal trial. Someone needs to wake him up and let him know the next generation of American leadership is here, and it's on.
Let's talk about...
Yeah, all right, let's... Stop it, sir. Wow. Friend of the show, David Pakman, tweeted out, and a lot of people have been saying this. Is it really the time? Is it the time? Does America need right now, really, the oldest presidential nominee ever? I don't know. I think we gotta bring in a new generation of leadership. Oh, and it makes them so mad. I know. Because in reality, if Biden stayed in the race, I would still explain to you why it is that he has the pro-democracy, common sense governance with the strong record, with the doubts about his candidacy and concerns around his age, would be the far superior candidate to Trump. And so that's not the determining issue. But given how much MAGA media wanted to focus on age back when Biden was the older one, it's coming back to bite them where the sun don't shine. Okay. Here is Governor of Minnesota Tim Walz, who's a great surrogate for the campaign of Kamala Harris now, and is also being considered to be her VP pick. And he had a couple things to say. He's one of the best people at distilling down the Democratic message in ways that are really motivating. First, here's him saying this.
These are weird people on the other side. They want to take books away. They want to be in your exam room. That's what it comes down to. And don't, get sugarcoating this. These are weird ideas. Listen to them speak. Listen to how they talk about things. Listen to how your previous guests were right. Like you said, they've told them that they shouldn't talk about race. They can't help it. It is built into their DNA because there is no plan. There's no health care plan. There's no health care plan. There's nothing to do on this. They want to take away our alliances and leave Russia to do whatever they want. Look, they are bad on foreign policy. They are bad on the environment. They certainly have no health care plan. And they keep talking about the middle class that, as I said, a robber baron real estate guy and a venture capitalist trying to tell us they understand who we are. They don't know who we are.
Right. Yeah. And they're weird. He's one of the few people who says that very clearly. They're just weird people. The things they get obsessed with, the attacks they levy. A good example of this is, and my chair is just really giving me problems right now if you notice me adjusting a lot. I think you, okay, if you are upset with and find it to be a relevant political issue that you're upset with Kamala Harris's laugh, you're the one who has the problem, right? Says nothing about Kamala Harris, everything about you. Weird. When people in MAGA media play compilations of her laugh, all I feel is like, oh, I sort of want to laugh now because I like seeing other people laugh and I feel happy when I do. But they think that means something. Or the J.D. Vance childless cat lady attack, or the DEI attack, which every time I say that, if you're someone who thinks the argument against Kamala Harris is she doesn't have enough qualifications on her resume, thus she only got to where she is because of her identity, which is the thing they're asserting with DEI, is insane. That's an insane argument to make, given that she's one of the most qualified candidates ever. You could still disagree with her on policy, but I'm saying just on paper, you look at her resume, not even going to the prosecutorial days or like more rank and file before DA, but then she rises up to be the district attorney of San Francisco, then the attorney general of California, then a senator from California, then a vice president. That's just, you got a bunch of experience and a bunch of different things relevant to being president. And they still will make the DEI argument. So what are we supposed to take from that other than you're saying something with wildly problematic premises? And all of those arguments are weird. You're just weird. Okay, focus on policy. Focus on substance. If you do want to debate, for example, I'm gonna give you this. You want to debate about the border? Let's do it. I'm going to talk about how MAGA is terrible on the issue and never wants solutions and just likes fearmongering about problems. But that's actually at least a policy issue. But all these weird identity attacks and whatever you call, I guess, identity, the J.D. Vance attacks, it is saying more about how weird you are. And I'm using weird not in the fun term, like I'm weird, woohoo, we love weird people, everyone's weird, but instead the bad sort of get a life type of way. No, I'm kidding. Focus on important things type of way, okay? Stop with these weird obsessions. Stop with the weird attacks. Quick pause from your viewing of this video to request that you subscribe if you're not already to this channel. We've heard some people saying that they'll subscribe and then check back later and they're unsubscribed. That's not good. So if you could make sure that you are subscribed, even if you think that you are, I would greatly appreciate it. Back to the video. And then you have Tim Walz saying this.
How are you going to build a water treatment plant in a town of 400 if you don't have a collective effort at it? So I have to tell you, they scream socialism. We just build roads and we build schools and we build prosperity into this. Their whole plan is to go backwards, to give tax cuts to the wealthy. And look, it was so surprising. You know, these super successful Donald Trump, who inherited $400 million and then proceeded to fail at everything. Middle America, you earn it, but you know what? You're not on your own. Neighbors help neighbors. And I will, this one bothers me. I heard you talking about punching back at the bullies. They see people less fortunate as scapegoats and you know, punchlines for their jokes. We see them as neighbors. And I said it with my mom. My dad dies when my little brother's young. We're teenagers. We get Social Security survivor benefits. I'm all for pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. We didn't have any boots. Social Security was the boots, and we pulled ourselves up, and we paid that back. And I think J.D. Vance gets none of that. You know, it's the aw shucks, I'm from here or whatever. So my hillbilly cousins did not go to Yale, but I'll tell you what they did. They contributed to our community, and they're proud of it.
Look out for your neighbors. Stop being weird. The Governor Tim Walz way of politicking. We love to hear it. Thank you so much, Governor.
Aw, nice smile there, Tim. Yeah, That's it, okay? There have been versions of the Democratic Party message that just weren't quite right. But this generation of leaders, a lot of these Democratic governors get it. They get it. And it makes me so happy because it's a bummer when almost all your options are terrible, you know? And we've had that before. But when there's a good option, like Tim Walz is just a good governor that you could be proud of the governance of. That feels good because that is democracy at its best. We as people chose someone good and then they did good things. They said, hey, I'm going to do this if you get me into power. We get them into power with our votes and they do some good stuff for us. And then we proceed to live a better life. We as a community, our neighbors caring for one another. And as he said, we do want people who are go-getters. Land of opportunity, baby. Go take advantage of those opportunities. But sometimes to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, as he said, you have to have the boots first. Let's give them the boots. And it is a message of loving and supporting your neighbor. Loving your neighbor. Huh. Conservative Christians, come over to our side. We're actually trying to get things done for people. And it's one that, as you'll hear from Tim Walz, is opposed to things. Right? It's not all cotton candy and rainbows. But it also is for something so beautiful. And that is a world where people just go out there, try to live the best life they can, love their families, prosper. And the government does what it can. Our elected officials do what they can to uplift people the best that we see fit. And that's a great world. Instead of the retribution and darkness and cruelty of the Trump world that would lie ahead if he were elected as president. Let me know what you thought of all that in the comments. If you want to get extra exclusive content daily that is just for our members and supports the work that we do, you can do so by clicking the join button below.